You're now tuned in to the Talk Your Shit podcast.
Can I talk my shit? Sure I can. 'Cause ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it anyway. Yo, welcome to the Talk Your Shit podcast with two dudes and two pretty little women talk a lot of shit about a lot of shit. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that's off limits when we talk about this show. I am your Captain J.O. I will be steering the ship tonight. And to my right, I got my man Wink in the building.
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's going on, y'all?
We are missing Miss Seven, who is usually right in front of me, but we will represent her well in her absence.
Definitely, most
You
certainly.
know what I'm saying? And to the left, I got Miss Mara P. Yes, indeed. And how y'all doing, man? Miss Mara, how are you?
I'm good.
Anything interesting happened in the last since we were last on?
There's been a lot of interesting things happening. However, I shall keep those to myself for right now. And then y'all find out later. You already know, but
Well, let's share with the people. Tell them a little something.
okay. So I've been having a very good year career wise. I'll put it that way. Very very good year career wise.
That's awesome. Nice how you knew exactly which one it is.
Yeah, that's why you gotta play. You gotta play with the stuff behind the scenes before the show starts. You know.
That was pretty big. I'm about to turn the soundboard.
Yeah, hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
That was awesome right there. Okay, so Mara P having a good year career wise. Okay, what about you, Wayne? What's going on with you,
Man,
man?
you know, same shit, different toilet. You know how it go. Made it another week, 2 weeks actually. Man, I'm blessed to be here in y'all presence once again. You know, just ready to talk my shit because I think tonight's topic is
Very interesting.
very, very, very
So-
interesting.
so-
So I'll
so-
save it. I got notes tonight, y'all.
You hit on something.
Oh,
You hit on something.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
You hit on something, man, that we just blessed to be here, man. This world is crazy.
Hey, look,
World is
man.
crazy, dog. Which kind of took me to my first little subject of talking. Like, this is just a little, a little something to get the people warmed up. You know what I'm saying? Get us in the right direction, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, it ain't about. We're gonna talk about some racism in America and how certain laws have been changed, certain laws have been overruled, and and if for minority of people can be racist towards a majority of people, or just period. But I would like to start the show talking about something I read today on Instagram, right?
The grams.
Yeah, on the grams, always on the grams. So I read that at this gas station, this guy was taking up for this young lady because her boyfriend was being abusive to her, right? And the guy got shot and he's dead.
Mhm.
And the girl rolled away with her boyfriend.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So it was like the dude just basically stepped into something that he was just trying to help.
Mhm.
And she basically was like, yeah, but I'm gonna go with this dude anyway, right?
Mhm.
So that's so I just want to get y'all feelings on that. Like I always say, people around me, couples around me, and they argue or whatever, and they get into it or whatever, and they be like, yo, they be trying to bring me into it. I'm like, dog, I don't do the domestic thing.
No domestic mileage, boy.
I don't do. I don't do domestic disputes.
Mhm.
I tell them quick. I don't do domestic disputes. Let me go ahead on out my way. And basically, like I've seen it too many times where it's been some guy who takes up for a woman who's in an abusive relationship or is in an abusive situation at the time, and the girl basically is like, help, but then when you help, she don't really want to help, and she go off with the dude that's being abusive to her. And I just thought this dude had his life end unnecessarily, though. Like it was not even necessary for this dude to shoot him. Like he was just trying to help this woman who was being abused. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not sure if it was physically or mentally. It made me sick to my stomach. Though. I couldn't even read the whole thing because it just made me mad. Like this dude just stepped out his way to be chivalrous and to help this woman, and she rolled off with the dude. You know what I'm saying? She rolled off with the guy that was abusing her.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that show was, I thought it was fucked up. And he ended up dying in the
Mhm.
situation. He ended up dying in the situation, and I think that's wrong. I think, be honest with you, I want to say I'm sad for the guy and his family, but if it was me, I probably wouldn't even have stepped in just because of that situation. Like I've seen it too many times turn and not be in your favor. And maybe, and I don't know if that's wrong or, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, but I tend to want to stay alive and take care of my
that's
own.
the number one goal.
You know what I'm saying? Take care of my own. Because I got people depending on me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Let me just, okay, so yeah, you know where I'm going.
Marpy, go ahead.
So I want to talk to you a little bit, Mar, because I mean, I'm not saying, you know, I know who you are, so you know, I don't want to steer the people in a direction where they think that you might have been in a abusive relationship. But if you were in something like that, like, do you? Can you give us a woman's point of view of that kind of situation, or is it too hard for you? Because I don't think you've ever been in that kind of situation, or have you? I don't.
Well, fun fact about me, I have been in an abusive relationship before. But what I will say is that as far as those type of situations go, I don't blame anyone who doesn't step in. Because like you said, people have families, they have kids. You never know what the next guy is going to do or what he's, you know what I'm saying? You never know how that's going to end up for you. So I don't blame people who don't step in. But I think it goes deeper than the actual situation. So I think a lot of the problem is as far as, and people will say, oh, well, you know, it's victim mentality, whatever. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about that because unless you live through it, then you don't know how it is. But what I will say is that I wish people would stop subscribing to this whole ride or die thing as if the more shit somebody can put you through and you stay is like a measure of your love for them. Because I think that is a lot of the problem is that people are like, oh, you got to be my ride or die, it shouldn't matter, blah, 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 blah. But the fact is, it should matter. Like, if your measure of how much somebody loves you is based upon how much shit you could put them through and they just stay, how much abuse they can take, physical, emotional, whatever, and they just stay, then you don't have the right image in your mind of what love actually is. And I think that's the problem. Like, people stay in these relationships and these situations that end up like with this guy, like he's just trying to be a good Samaritan. He's not necessarily trying to harm anyone. He's just trying to prevent her from getting harmed, and he ends up getting shot
in a public area, yeah.
Right. And she just rides away
with the dude
who was doing all the shit to her, because in her mind it's like, oh, well, you know, he's just going through some shit right now, you know, but I still love him, so I'm still going to stay. It's like that whole and I'm gonna stick beside him is like a TikTok thing, but it's some toxic ass shit. Like, that's a toxic mentality, and that's what it is. Like, not a lot of people realize.
So if you don't mind me asking, like, did it take some time for you to get out of that, or did you recognize it immediately? You know, and then when it was to your, like, you know, because I know people get fed up, and part of it is because, and I know you gotta watch it, but part of it is because part of this discussion I brought up is because of that, and because, you know, I watch P Valley, and the girl Mississippi is in a relationship like that, and she's there with this guy, and it's like he beats on it. Hers is physically, right? And she continues to stay where she is, even though I think she has the resources to be quote unquote rescued or get out of the situation. When you were in this relationship, was it physically or emotionally? Were you able to recognize it immediately, or did it take some time?
No, actually, it was both, but it did take some time because a lot of times, in a situation, especially because most situations don't start off like that. Period.
Well, of
Like,
course, of course.
Like it's always a good situation until it's not. So then
Mhm.
I think a lot of times what people like default to is, well, what did I do? You
Right,
know,
right,
like
right.
what 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 did I do to trigger this? Or what I'm saying, well, maybe if I wouldn't have said this in this way, then he wouldn't have reacted that way. Or it could be vice versa, where it's like, a woman can also abuse a man, and they'll be like, oh, well, well, maybe I shouldn't have said this to her, or maybe I shouldn't have said that to her. And I think a lot of times we make it, and it's funny because I was talking to one of my friends about this the other day. I think we make a lot of stuff. I think people in general tend to make a lot of stuff like a you problem. Like, I think it's a me problem, when actually the problem has nothing to do with me.
you. Right, 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 right. Okay.
So a lot of times I think people end up victims of the circumstance. And then you turn around and you're like, well, what did I do to deserve this? But it's nothing that you did to deserve that. That person is just a fucked up individual.
Right. I get that. I get that. What you think about the whole situation that I just put in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. It's very, very unfortunate that that the innocent bystander in this situation lost his life. Prayers and condolences go out to his family. But in my young life, I've seen a couple of abusive relationships, and within my bloodline. And I was always the baby, so I could never really interject the way that I really wanted to until I was able to. And sometimes when I was in those situations, it literally I learned something, and it was just like I can't, and I equate it to me and my recovery. Like, I can't help unless the person wanted help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
like, if the person don't want help, they not going to cry wolf. You know what I'm saying? But when they're ready to do something about that relationship, whether it be continue with it or separate themselves from that relationship, you know, it's all in how can I say it? It's all in individual circumstances. You know what I'm saying? But I don't condone it. I hate to see it, but then at the same time, like you said earlier, like, I got people depending on me, so it's almost like my man Emmanuel Hudson said, stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? So when you stay in your lane, unfortunate circumstances like the one that my man put himself in would not possibly. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. You know what I'm saying? Especially in today's society. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's so trigger happy, and nobody wants to. One, nobody wants to knuckle up anymore. Two, nobody wants to admit their wrongdoings anymore. Nobody wants to be held accountable for their actions.
Right.
And then once you're held accountable for your actions, then you get somebody that actually has the courage to step to you and be like, hey, Slim, like, you wrong as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, now at that point, it's like, why you talking to me? Like, you don't know me. It don't even matter if I know you or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, right, because you've been doing this shit. Excuse my language, y'all. But you've been doing this stuff for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been doing this stuff for so long. Like, you think it's okay to get away with and do. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally, like, I've had a situation similar to that just happened earlier this week at work, where I had a coworker that was being verbally abusive to his spouse. You know what I'm saying? And when stuff like that occur, like, granted, I wasn't around, because if I was around, I would have said something, because that's just the type of person that I am. As long as I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you in my presence and you dealing with women, like, the women in my life mean everything to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna protect them women by any means necessary. Whether I gotta lay my life down on the line on that, because that's just who I am. But if it's a random,
you might have to think twice.
I'm not even thinking twice. This man, I'm going by my business. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let me get 35 cents on pump one, and I'm going home.
You got a lawnmower?
You can't even gas a lawnmower.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
He out front
that's
like the
it.
dudes that was out at the Royal Farms that was telling you about.
You can't can't even put a gas can together with
Hey,
55
look,
cents.
man.
You know what I'm saying? But
I
listen,
might get it.
you know what
That's
I'm
all.
saying?
That's all the gas.
I need something to ignite to get the fuck up out of there. Just
You know
turn my
what I'm
car
saying?
on, baby. I can go to the next gas
You know what I'm
station.
saying? That's you know what I'm saying. I
Give
ain't
me
got time
$4.35
for.
on pump one. Let me get to the other motherfucking gas station so I get out of here. But like I think it's just a difficult situation for guys like us. Like I have a daughter. I have a stepmother. I have a stepmother. I have 3 sisters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So women in my family, like you said, are really important to me. So when I see a woman, you automatically think like that could be my mother, or that could be my sister, or that could be my daughter, or that could be my cousin, in that kind of situation. And you don't want that to, because that is somebody's daughter, that is somebody's
Sister, daughter, mother, whatever the case may
It
be.
could be somebody, you know what I'm saying, and you know their life is on the line as you see it anyway at the time. You know what I'm saying, so you want to do stuff, but like I said, like excuse me.
That shit came out of nowhere, bro.
Damn,
You
that
alright?
did, yeah.
You stayed up all night thinking about it?
Yes, sir. No, I did not. But anyway.
Nah, he an old man. He ain't get his nap in that day.
You did, though, didn't you?
Oh, facts.
Okay.
Big
I
facts.
did not get
I
my
got 2 of them in.
But now another thing I will just add is a lot of times, like if you see something like that, like happening like in public, it is normally a far gone situation.
Right,
because
right.
it like in my situation, like nobody would have ever thought that. Like everybody just thought this individual was like the best person. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody would have.
Well,
ever
that's
thought
because
so.
I think those people have a great. A lot of people like that have a great facade personality.
Very manipulative.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like their facade. They're this woman, this young lady told me one time is their representative represents well.
But then that's why but that's another reason when people are like, oh, you should just go. Like sometimes you're literally not sure if it's them or if it's you. Right. Because if everybody else is telling you how great of a person you're dealing with, and then you go home and you see this monster, but nobody else sees it.
Like when you just say it's manipulative, so they got this personality where they can manipulate people into thinking that they're so awesome. I say because they got this facade. It's their representative. It's the person that you meet. That's not the real person. You know what I'm saying? And I think people, the victims and the people, if you're listening out there, the people that are in these relationships, you got to understand that the person that you see is the real person. The person that everybody else sees is telling you that they're great and it's all. Believe me, that's the person that they want them to see. That's not them. The person that you see every single day, that's them. That's them, and so if that's not the person that you want to be around or excuse me, be involved with, you got to make a plan to exit plan. And I know sometimes it's really really difficult and stuff like that, but that's when you lean on some people, your friends, whatever. Tell them, wow, this is really tough for me, and just tell them that you know what I'm saying? Tell them, listen, this is not who you think it is. And you're only your but the thing is, and it's tough too sometimes because you got to really think about who you're going to with this information also, I think.
Oh, big facts.
Because everybody's going to, so cause there are people that you think are your people. And once you'll find out whether they're your people or not, because then they'll be like, well, that don't sound like him, and are you sure? And you should stay. He sounds like a really good man and or woman or whatever. And then, and then you be like, dog, did
you hear any fucking thing I just said?
You're not my people, because I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now, like this is not it, and this is what. Oh, this your only your real people are gonna tell you. Okay, you know what? Let's go. Let's do this. Let's get out of here. Let's make a plan, and you know. So it is a tough situation. I do understand that, but like I said, man, I think before I act a lot of times, unless it has to do with family. Family is different. But like you said, some rando at a gas station, dog, let me get. Hey, Slim, let me get that real quick. Let me get out of here because I ain't got time to do this because You know what I'm saying? Because it's just not. It's just,
You never
the way it
know.
is now. It's just not. It's probably not worth it. Because again, 9 times out of 10, they gonna just roll with that person that's been abusive anyway. So your efforts have
Not even
gone.
that. Like,
Well, I mean,
how did you get to the gas station?
Well, I mean, but that's
It ain't like you gonna not leave with the person that you rode to the gas station with. Like, at the end of the day, you trying to get home, so you gonna make a conscious decision to leave with that person. If you don't, you know what I'm saying, it's, hey, look, you know what I'm saying, go ahead, go on about your business, you know what I'm saying, I catch an Uber, I'm staying at my girlfriend, I'm staying at my boyfriend house,
Right, right, right.
or I'm staying at my man house, right? I ain't even say boyfriend, but, you know what I'm saying, like, but I'm going elsewhere, I'm gonna give you some time to cool off, then we can go ahead and do what we're gonna do, and we can we can address this situation later. That is a very, very rare occasion in which a situation like that happens. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you got to realize as another bystander that, hey, this motherfucker's gonna wind up leaving with that person anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's not
So, like,
that
yeah.
I can really, it's nothing I can really much say
Or
or
change their
do
mind.
to deter you from going with said person. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like you even put yourself in an even deeper situation. You be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Do you need a ride somewhere? Because now you got, you know what I'm saying, dude might take your tag number down, or
Right,
you might
yeah.
wind up getting followed, and then police might get involved. Like, hey, this person kidnapped X, Y, and Z,
Yeah, man.
and it's all kinds.
a
Like,
whole
you
lot of things.
never know with today's society. Like, we are some very, very creative people within our own minds. You know what I'm saying? So my my best thing is me. I've tried to be a realist my entire life, so therefore I stick to the script. Man. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Like,
that's exactly right though. That's the thing. Like it's just like it's just not worth it. 9 times out of 10, it's not worth it.
oh, and that reminds me, like, and it was in the and
You put up a fight.
yeah, because I had to, because I just had to, it just dawned on me. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I've seen relationships like that in my life and in my, you know what I'm saying, in my family, you know what I'm saying? So, a situation happened one time, you know what I'm saying? So, it was out in a public space, but it was out in public, but it was on private property, if that makes any sense at all.
Like
You know what I'm
maybe,
saying?
Like
It
you
was
said,
in front
like
of
maybe
people
outside.
It was in front of people, but it was on like it was. I'm gonna tell you, like it was in front of my apartment complex. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
the way that the situation was directly in front of the rental office of my apartment complex. So I'm sitting there like I got, you know what I'm saying, and I've been in my neighborhood since I lived in the fourth grade, so everybody in the hood know me. You know what I'm saying? So it was like one of the maintenance men hit my jack and was just like, hey, bruh, you might want to go ahead, step outside, blase blah going on. I was like this, man, for real? He was like, yeah. I was like, all right, bet. I'm on my way outside. So I get outside, and as I'm approaching my peoples, you know what I'm saying, I'm like, hey, look, man, like, I don't give a fuck what, and this is my exact words, man, I don't give a fuck what y'all got going on, but y'all niggas need to take that shit somewhere else, you know what I'm saying, like, go somewhere else, like, y'all in front of my, you know what I'm saying, my rental office with everybody, like, we got nosy ass neighbors, like, we got a neighborhood watch and don't even have a neighborhood watch, you know what I'm saying, like, everybody in,
You ain't
like,
heard it from me.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy how when you live in a certain space for so long, and you got that one neighbor that's been there probably about 10, 15 years longer than you, and this how bad this shit is. Like, motherfucker had tent on their balcony door just so they, you know what I'm saying? So like they, granted, you might not want everybody in your shit, but that don't mean that you not in everybody else shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I love my neighbor to death. She cool as I don't know what, but she nosy than a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And then she hopped straight on the phone, and then that shit going from building 1 to building 4, back to building 2, back to building 8. You know what I'm saying? To the rental office, and then you got people in the rental office that like gossiping and shit too. So then that shit get to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Business in the rental office, dog.
But yeah, you damn near. You know what I'm saying? Like they got eyes locked in, but the motherfucker literally, so as I'm approaching, the motherfucker told me, mind my motherfucking business. Oh, yeah? All right, cool. Motherfucker, I went back upstairs. I put because I was wrong. I went outside in the Crocs. I had them in speed mode though. But I went outside my had them on sport mode.
Just in case.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, I went ahead and I put.
on sport mode though. Don't hurt him.
Hey, look, I went like that. I said, you know what?
Sometimes
It ain't my business. You know what I'm saying? And granted, you know what I'm saying? I went ahead. I laced my boots up. I hopped in my car and I rode. So everybody was now like everybody's nervous. Like, where is he going? What is he about to do? You know, I told him straight up. I said, man, I'm going uptown. I'm going to go party with my people's uptown. Like, I ain't got time to be dealing with this shit. Like, if I was told to mind my business, obviously they don't care what's going on. When I really cared about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like I said, I don't like domestic violence. I don't like police all in your business and whatnot. But if that's what you choosing today, I'm choosing to do the opposite. So I'm removing myself from the situation on
Somebody
but.
woke up that morning in that situation and chose violence.
Yeah, they chose all kinds of violence, and the crazy part was they thought that I was going to choose violence too. And
I think that's the white man can't jump syndrome. Like, okay, y'all be here when I get back.
yeah, and that's I was just like, all right, cool, and it was crazy because usually I'll be like, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna be XYZ, or I'm going around such and such. But this day I was quiet, and you know they always say you got to watch out for the quiet one, but
Yes, sir.
I was just like, nah, it ain't my business. So obviously you don't care, I don't care. So we both not gonna care together, and whatever happened. Let the chips fall where they may.
And I think that was it. So you know we're gonna roll on past that 'cause I think that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, no, I like that as a warm
That
up
was,
today,
you know what I'm saying?
man.
I wanted because I
Fellas,
just
keep
thought
your hands to yourselves, man.
Ladies,
Women,
keep your hands to yourselves,
yourselves.
because I tell
You know
you
what I'm saying?
I just thought that was a good situation.
If you get the swinging on, look, I'll tell everybody
Listen,
this:
oh, yeah?
you can
Please
only
do.
control
What you do?
what you do. You cannot control how people react.
Which
So men don't get to beating on your woman, and then when she stab you 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 67 times, you get upset. Women, you can't punch
Don't
these
punch
dudes.
the dude because when he
You
slap
can't
the
punch
shit out
these
of you,
dudes in the face because
when he slap your
when
face
he-
off your face,
right when he slap your face off your face, then
what you gonna do?
there's nothing you can do about that. So everybody just keep them hands to themselves, please. Thank you.
Equal and opposite reaction.
This
Just remember
has
that.
been a
Or-
PSA from RP.
or in
Keep
my
your hands
case-
to yourself.
Or in my case, and my petty since we to the roof. It ain't no equal, or it's more so I'm gonna react way more than you reacted to me. So, let's get into tonight's topic. We're gonna talk a little bit about racism in America, and we gonna kind of focus on
Hey, Miss Jennifer.
our people a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, go ahead, Joe. Go
he
ahead,
said,
Joe.
I'm not gonna put hands on the woman, but I'm gonna shake that front lace off. Yes, sir.
Go away, Kenzie. Go away.
I'm gonna shake the shit out of you. But yeah. Matter of fact, I had a little situation before where Wayne was there, and I
You
didn't.
shook somebody's lace front off.
Nah, but I put them in their seat. I didn't punch them or nothing. I just grabbed them so they would stop hitting me. And I put them on the sofa. I said, don't do that shit no more. And the point is that the person that hit me, she knew. She hit me. She stole me right in my face.
Damn.
And when she looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, and it looked like she didn't hit me. She jumped back and she put her guard up, and I said, I grabbed her arms and I put her in her seat, and I said, don't do that again, or we're gonna have some problems. And then I hit her. I put her in a situation where she couldn't hit me again. How about that?
Okay.
And I made sure that she would not hit me again. and we, we talked about it later, and that was what it was. But
I never applauded you for not reacting for that. You know, like That was very manly.
Hey, listen.
It really was.
Without saying too much, I know that shit Wayne said. Wayne quick thought too. He said, "Oh," and my son was young. He said, "Come here, man. Let's go outside." That's what he said.
Uncle
He said, "Come
Wayne.
on, let's go outside." And that shit was funny, but it was just like, "All right, come on, let's go outside." And he went outside. But anyway, so let's talk a little bit about racism in America. I think it's like about to. I really believe that things are almost at a boiling point now. Like it's getting.
Oh no, this shit been boiling. Now it's starting. It's really starting to bubble.
It's getting to that point where. So there are laws changing. There are laws being overruled. There's things taken out. And I just want to know. I just want your opinion before we get to the real question. The real question that I want to ask. I want to get to this underlying stuff first before we even get to that. So I noticed that there's a law in Maryland that said good and substantial reasoning for concealed carry has been put off the table.
Yes.
So now basically you can go get a concealed carry, whatever, without having to have
basically
a substantial reason.
So prior to not to cut you off, but prior to the switching of this law, you had to have substantial reasoning, i.e., being that you were like either like a security guard, special police, or you dealt with large sums of cash,
right?
Or you were a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to obtain your concealed carry permit in the state of Maryland, as well as the District of Columbia. It's not really known, but that was also the situation in DC as well.
So I don't know if they changed it in DC. I know
they did not change it in DC.
I know
have
for
not
a
heard
fact
anything in DC.
They just changed it in Maryland.
Yes,
I do know that.
So they changed it in Maryland to the point where I won't say that anybody can get it, but they've lessened the restrictions
right.
upon those who qualify for a concealed carry permit now. And I haven't talked to my my instructor yet, but I plan on doing that in a very, very near future. But and as I was reading the law the other day, they're basically stating that now you can fill out an application and say that you're basically for security and protection. And that's how you would fill it out now.
Wow, that's crazy. And,
but it's gotten to that point now, like especially with the number of mass shootings continuing to rise. Home invasions are still on the rise. It's just it's ridiculous.
I don't know if you remember the other day I was talking to Mar about another little slight law they changed. Okay, and that concealed carry. So that's one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I read that I think Maryland has passed a law or saying basically that the body cam or the videotaping of cops can be restricted now or something like that.
Nah, I definitely don't agree with that. You talk about racism and we're talking about the laws now.
I just want to know if like a lot of this stuff, a lot of these laws like Roe versus Wade, all this stuff is like, do you think it's racially motivated? Do you think this stuff is?
A lot of it is.
Yes,
honestly.
yes and no. A lot of it, yes, I think.
Go ahead.
I think a lot of it is racially motivated, especially with the whole body cam thing. Because my thing is this: like, if you're not doing anything wrong, it shouldn't matter whether somebody has you on camera or not.
Exactly.
Because if you're not doing anything wrong, then you should welcome footage because that will absolve you of whatever somebody's saying that you're trying to do.
Right.
So that always looks shifty to me, like when people are like, oh, no police body camera footage, blah, 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 blah. Because there have been a number of times, not necessarily in Maryland, but there have been a number of times where body cam footage has proven essential to proving that law enforcement in certain cases didn't do what they said they were going to do. There was one case, I forgot which case it was, where the body cam footage actually started recording a number of seconds before the officer would actually turn it on. So they get a call, their body cam would activate before they even turned it on, and it would start recording audio. So they caught the officer doing something he had no business doing on the audio that would have never been caught on the video because he waited till after he did all the fuck shit to turn the video on.
So yeah, right. So I think in certain cases, so let's go back real quick. Let's go back to what is it, early '90s when Rodney King.
Beat the shit.
And the only reason, and it's funny because they was caught on tape. It was caught on tape. What happened?
Big jumps.
It was caught on tape by camera, by actual camera.
By camera.
And they overruled it because they said they don't know what happened before the camera started rolling.
But it doesn't matter.
But I think, right, it didn't matter in that case because he got his ass beat to all hell.
A pulp.
And it's crazy because it's like, you saw that video. So you telling me that no matter what he did before that, he can have all his rights, all his civil rights, all his rights as a human being. Not just civil, just as a human being violated and beat the fuck up because he got dragged out his truck and everything, like, because you wanted to, just because you wanted to.
But people feel
So you telling me, like, you know what I'm saying, like, so if we had the footage beforehand, you saying to me if he was calm or whatever the case may be, which he probably was in the first place, but you saying that it could have absolved him of, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't care. It was right there. Like, you was beating him. You beat this man. 4 or 5. You talking about 4 or 5 people on this man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think restricting video is a big mistake because now you're talking about, like, what was it, George Floyd that was had his knee on his neck. If we didn't have video of that, I believe that police officer would have got off.
Oh, definitely. But
for sure.
But see, here's my whole thing. I think 2 things can be true at one time. Like, just because someone may have done, like, say somebody's running from the police. Just this one guy they said was running from the police, right? Mm-hmm. No, you shouldn't be running from the police, but also the police should not shoot at you 90 times while you're running away from them because you pose no threat. Like, both things can be true. No, you should not be running from the police, but also the police should not shoot you 100 times.
Shouldn't
That's ridiculous.
They shouldn't.
When you're running away, 2 things can be true at one time.
They shouldn't be rounding off 90 rounds.
That is ridiculous. 90 times.
So like I said, it can be, both things can be true at one time, right? And again, they can say, well, why were you running? Well, why is it 90 police officers, or what was it? It was like, what? It was surrounding him, so I guess about 20 officers, 10, 15 officers, however many it was. And he got the fuck up out of there. And
he posed no threat to them.
And he did not.
Running away.
He had his hands clear.
And then and then the crazy part about it was, like, they were trying to say that he had a gun, right? But they tried to say that somebody else had a gun at one point too. I'm sorry, I don't remember the names of all these cases. But then they found out that the police were shooting so much, they were shooting at each other. Mm-hmm. The suspect had no gun. It was them.
Yeah, he had no gun.
They were so goddamn trigger happy, they just start firing off rounds, and they're like, "Oh shit, he's shooting at me." No, y'all shooting at each other.
Right. Right, and it's crazy. Like, and I had a conversation about cops. So just because, here's the thing. Okay, I have friends that are cops. I do.
Me too.
I have one of my best friends. His father was a cop. But does that mean that I'm totally comfortable with cops? No, I'm not, because I see what happens. Like, just because I haven't had a life or death or a high, highly volatile moment with the cops does not mean that I'm not apprehensive about when a cop stops me or when a cop is around me, because my skin is already a threat, and you see that every day, every single day. You see as a black man that your skin is a threat to the boys in blue. Period, and that's just what it is.
But you know what?
And go ahead. Okay, she forgot. So you know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna come back and we're gonna circle back around. Here we're gonna catch you on the
Don't
rebound.
grab it out there.
But you know what I'm saying? So I can't, and don't tell me I can't be worried about my two sons who are young with dreads. Both of them have dreads. They're young, and they do things that, you know, say that probably look suspicious, I guess, or whatever. But if you know them, you know that my boys are the complete opposite.
Them no hoodlums.
They complete opposite of what you think they might be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, every day. Go on, grab it.
I grab mine.
Go on, grab it. I done grabbed it. And so you just can't. You cannot tell me. You can't. What I'm saying is, and the conversation I was having is, they were trying to say that you shouldn't carry that baggage or whatever. But you can't tell me, especially when you're not a black man. You can't tell me not to carry that baggage, because I kind of have to, like, because I don't know. And like we was talking about it the other day, Marlon, like the old adage is wrong. One bad apple don't spoil the bunch. But in actuality, one bad apple does.
That's actually the saying.
Does spoil the bunch. It
That's
does.
actually the saying. It does.
Especially when you go with certain jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, one bad apple does spoil the bunch when it's cops. When you're supposed to count on them to serve and protect, and the people that they're not serving and protecting are the same color as you. And the same makeup as you. Doctors, you can't, you know, you can't go to the doctor's office and say, hey, you know, you just messed up on somebody. I can't mess with you.
Right.
Or the people in your, like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, because you fucked up. You got malpractice. Like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Well,
but you grabbed your joint out the ear, so bring it back.
Yeah, I did grab my joint out there. So, I think this one over here knows this, but my mom was actually in hospital. She was dying.
Oh yeah, we went over that last week, didn't we?
And I came out of the hospital because my son was like, "I'm just going to the car." That, you know, my mom was his best friend, so he was like, "I'm just going to the car." All right, fine. Here's the keys. Go to the car. I go down to the car. My son is nowhere to be found, and I'm like, "Where the hell did he go?" Because like literally, it's like a straight shot from like hospital to the car. Like there's really nowhere else to go.
Ain't that big.
Right. So
Not at all.
Right.
So I'm like, no, at the time he was at the hospital center.
Okay.
So
okay.
He was going straight to the garage, but where I parked was like by the emergency entrance, so there was really nowhere to walk like that. So I'm like, where did he go? I bend the corner. My son is in handcuffs because they're looking for, and this is what they told me. They're looking for at the time my son is 14. My son looks kind of young in the face now, besides his little dirt on his face. But at the time,
a little mustache there.
But at the time, he was 14, so he looked super young. They were looking for a 25-year-old that was about 5'7", about 215, with dreads. My son was 14. He was 6 feet tall. Nowhere near he might have weighed 150 pounds soaking wet at the time.
And no dreads.
With a fade.
Basically, no dreads.
So I said, you know, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They're like, oh, we were looking, because, you know, he beat up his girlfriend. Da, 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 da. I said, does my son look 25 to you? I said, where the fuck did his dreads go that fast? And then so the next thing,
he went in the bathroom. He was big in the mouth. He in the bathroom, cut them jumps off and everything, and faded himself up real quick.
And then so the next thing he was like, well, you know. And then there was like a female, like a Hispanic cop, and she was like, see, I told them he looked young, blah blah blah. and they were livid with her. They were livid. And then the first thing so the officer was like asking my son, like, well, if you didn't do anything, why'd you run? He said, I was walking. You started chasing me.
So yeah, that's crazy, right? So here's the thing. So I think it was you or Seven last time we were here talking about the cop that got caught on videotape talking to a bystander and saying, "I need your ID, you're trespassing." He ran.
Oh yeah, that was me.
That was you.
Yeah.
So I saw the clip. I saw the clip. I thought that shit was crazy because he was like protesting or something, and he was standing literally by like a highway or some shit, like in plain view of not private property, public property. And he started chasing the dude, and he tried to tase him, and it was crazy, right? It was crazy. And the dude stopped him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm trying to get the man Joe." He started running. He said, "Okay, so why are you chasing him?" He said, "Because he was on private property, trespassing." He's like, "It's not private property. It's like a highway or something." He's like, what are you talking about? And he was like, "Well, I just asked for his ID." He started running. He said, "So you started to chase him?" And it was just crazy because it was like, so if we don't have people like that around at the time, and the guy was not our color, which was very interesting. He was he was the same. I think he was the same color as the cop. But it's just crazy how some of these cops can get just too overzealous about things, and it was good that he wanted to. It was, and this is bad, but it was good that he wanted to tase him instead of getting out a gun and shooting 90 rounds at him. You know what I'm saying? Just because he was running. But you see the difference in the situations, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was one cop chasing him, and it was another cop that talked him down. Instead of our color people who are running, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe I can't say it would have been, I can't say it wouldn't have been, but just from history, that tells me if it was a black man running, I don't know if that sergeant would have said, "What are you doing?" He might have just ran after him just because, and maybe unloaded not the taser but a gun because it's happened. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude, who's the guy that got shot some years ago when the big Mike was it Mike?
Not Mike Brown.
Mike Brown?
No.
When he was walking away.
That was another guy down, and I was about to reference that.
Right.
Too.
Okay.
The one down in one of the Carolinas, I can't remember.
And he was walking away, and they shot him, and because they wanted to arrest him. I guess he started walking away, but it was clear that he was not an endangerment to you because he wasn't walking towards you or to that cop or whatever who shot him. They shot him in the back, and I'm just like,
yeah, that
well,
was.
why? Like, so why? Why are we doing that? Why are we shooting this man in the back when he's walking away? He poses no physical threat. Absolutely not. Anybody's walking away from you does not pose a physical threat. I don't give a fuck if they green.
Now,
you know what I'm saying? They don't. They just don't. Not at that point now. If he went to the car and then went to the drunk, we might be a little apprehensive. But he wasn't. He wasn't near anything. He was in a field. He was going away.
Yeah, that was down in one of the Carolinas.
Yeah, so I'm like, but it's just crazy how.
It's wild.
It's wild how you can't. So all I'm saying is, ladies.
Hold on, let me get my opinion on this whole
quick.
jump. Go ahead.
Ladies, any women or any guy that is not a black man in America, please don't try to tell that man how to react to a cop. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me how to react to a cop because you think that I'm overreacting to a cop's presence. And don't get me wrong. If I have a home invasion or some shit, I'm calling the cops.
Right.
But if I'm out on the road and I happen to make or I'm on a roller stop or some shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be apprehensive about this cop that comes to my window about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause a friend of mine was telling me, my best friend Stacy was telling me his son was doing that in the neighborhood. in the neighborhood they live in Virginia. They live in a. He has money. He lives in a big house in Virginia. He said his son was in the neighborhood, and his girlfriend at the time
Mhm.
was one of the other people.
Mhm.
And he said we stopped. We had to stop, and then the car officer. So he called his father, of course, immediately. He said, "I stopped, whatever." So his father was on the phone, listening to this, and he said he didn't like the questioning that the cop was giving his son. He's a very smart individual, so he's not one of the ones that's just gonna jump out and just go and be like, you know what I'm saying, like whatever. But he said he kept asking the girl questions like, "Are you okay?" and stuff like that, and it's like he found that weird, so he jumped out his.
Right, would you think he kidnapped her?
He jumped out his bed or whatever he was, got in the car. He said he went right down there and said, "Hey man, what's going on?" He was like, "Well, He said, "Well, why did you stop him?" He said it was a rolling stop. He was like, "Seriously?" So you asking her all these questions about a rolling stop, like why you know what I'm saying? Why you just give him a ticket and let him go about his business? No, that's not how that works. So if it's a rolling stop, that's something minor. Why you asking this girl what she needed or whatever? Like she in a passenger seat, she cool. So like, get the driver's information, go run it. You know what I'm saying? Is this your car? You live in this neighborhood? No, you don't need all that. So I just think a lot of things that we go through, people don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta worry every day. Both my sons go out here and drive around in the streets just to go have a little bit of fun on their own with their friends. So go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, so I've had a similar situation to my man with the rolling stop. So it was kind of funny. So I was in a old beat up Ford Explorer at the time, and I'm on my way back from a cookout or whatever. But one of the times that I was perfectly sober when I wasn't sober completely.
Sober.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it was wild because so I was over by Naylor Road, especially by like the metro station, and if you're familiar with that area, there are a couple roundabouts right there. So I'm driving and there's nothing coming towards me or in the circle. So like I've noticed that this police officer had been telling me from Suitland Parkway. I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm driving the speed limit. I ain't got nothing on me. I'm Gucci. I already know I'm good. And I've always had this type of attitude where I've been nonchalant, but at the same time, I'm gonna give you the information that you need.
Right.
So it was. So the police. So I literally go into the roundabout, go around the circle, boom, and then I turn off to go take excuse me, what is that? Oxen Run Drive by the park and all that. And he put so I'm literally
So
right by I'm literally right by the legend.
Yeah.
And they pulled me over.
Don't talk about the legend. Yeah.
So I pull over and it was bad because like I said, I was in an old beat up Ford Explorer. So the Ford Explorer, the driver window didn't go down. So I knew that. So now I have to be even more cautious because now I have to open the door in order to give this officer my information and stuff like that. So I'm looking in the side mirror as he's walking to the car. So I'm like, so I literally have the door cracked and I have my elbow holding the door open. So as I'm holding the door open with my elbow, he like, you can close the door. I'm like, and then I'm screaming. I'm like, window don't work, bruh. So he like, all right. So he pulls up immediately and was just like, yeah, license, registration, proof of insurance. So I'm like, all right, what did you stop? So as I said, I gotta go in the glove box to get it. You know what I'm saying? So my sister's in the passenger seat, sleep. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and it's her car. So I'm like, man, look, man, where the shit at? Motherfucker, I just got pulled. She like, for what? And I'm like, don't even worry about it. I was like, I got it. Just go back to sleep. So she sleep. I give the officer my information, but then I'm like, excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question? He's like, what's up? I'm like, what was the reason why you pulled me over? You failed to yield at a roundabout. Really? really. And this is exactly what I'm like, really? I failed to yield at a roundabout. He was like, yeah, I said, I failed to yield at a roundabout. He was just like, you know what? Have a nice day.
So
And this was a person that looked like me, and that's what made me so upset because I'm like, if like I do know the traffic laws and traffic rules. I had been driving for almost about 8 or 9 years at the time, and I'm like, bruh, like
so
failure to yield at a roundabout, like
that's
you
not
really
even a
about to
thing.
like,
That's not even a thing.
like come on, bruh, like
The
for
thing
real,
says, the joint says,
yield.
to traffic in the circle.
And nothing
That's
was.
exactly
It was.
what it
It was
says.
like
Every roundabout you come to, unless it has a stop sign there, it says yield
yield to traffic in the circle.
traffic. So which means if there's no traffic in the circle, you keep on moving.
By the way, roundabouts are the worst thing ever.
I love
they are.
roundabouts.
They are the worst
Ever
thing.
I love
Like,
roundabouts.
Because
You
nobody knows
you
how
can
to
put
do
a
it.
speed bump right there. You don't need a damn roundabout to control the speed of traffic. Y'all just be out here.
People
just
don't know how to
fucking
do that
around,
shit.
fucking
People don't know how to do that shit. They get to the roundabout, they lose all sense of driving. And it says the sign right there. So when you're going around, if you're in the roundabout, guess what?
You have the right of
person,
way.
the person you're coming towards cannot go in the roundabout because you're already in there. They're supposed to yield to you. They don't understand that. People don't understand
Especially
that.
now by
That's
the
not even-
Wegmans, y'all really need
Yeah,
y'all
oh,
really
God,
need
no.
to drive
Oh,
lessons around them.
God, the Wegmans, let's not even talk about
Oh
that.
yeah, that is hilarious.
Them people don't know. Anyway,
So let me get back to the original
Go ahead.
thing with the whole photo with the photo cams and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the body cam. So it's funny to me how they work. They work both ways, right? So the body cams are supposed to protect citizens from wrongdoing. But in the situation down in the Carolinas where you got the man that gets shot damn near 15 times in the back, the officer is now acquitted of all charges because we don't know what happened prior to them either arriving on the scene and or you know what I'm saying, what transpired, you know what I'm saying, before knowledge. It makes no sense because now you're telling this person that they don't have to wear body cams anymore or turn them on. So one, what is the purpose of it? Two, it don't even matter because if another bystander is around, the day and age that we live in, too many motherfuckers have camera phones, and I think that's the best invention of the century is the camera phone. You know what I'm saying? But granted, even with that physical evidence, I think that it lessens the chance of getting a quote unquote conviction of an officer of the law because we all know that, and I have friends that are boys in blue. You know what I'm saying? I have a cousin that is he's one of those black suit guys. You know what I'm saying? So it don't even really matter, and I still voice my opinion to them as well. Like they protect and serve one another more so than they protect and serve the public as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Because their number one goal is at the end of the day is to get home as well. But their job, and they're going to get home by any means necessary. And I remember probably about like 10, 15 years ago where instead of motherfuckers getting shot, motherfuckers was actually, you know what I'm saying, getting tased. Like I can remember people getting tased, you know what I'm saying, getting tased upon getting tased, and then that was an issue. So they took the tasers off the utility belts. Then you just like it's just crazy, bro.
So real quick, Kizzy over here going.
Oh, Kizzy said he like him on a motorcycle. you
Like
wild,
what?
bro. The roundabouts. The roundabouts on his motorcycle.
Jared said, okay, so we get to that.
What's up, Jay Boogie?
We about to get to that in a minute, Jared, about the racism as far as.
Yeah, I jumped the gun. I'm sorry, y'all.
But
You talking about body cam footage and laws being changed,
So,
and that's another, and it coincides with that with the Miranda laws being changed too.
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because the change of the Miranda law now, you citizen can't sue
Right.
the officer, so it
So
protects.
if you don't know,
notice that how all of these laws
that's what I'm
are
saying.
protecting
Yes,
a
they went from
certain
protecting. They went from protecting
the general
the
public.
general public to protecting law enforcement. Now.
Yes.
But that's why I'm asking. Like that's what I'm saying. Like So his was crazy about it. Like, I'm not a person. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I am not the dude that walk around talk about everything is racially motivated. I promise you, I'm not. If I don't get enough fries in my goddamn fry box, I'm not gonna be like, it's racial, my nigga. Like, it's I'm black. You don't give me enough fries.
You won't give me.
No,
I bet you
I'm
would
not
get
that
a white
dude.
boy 7 fries.
Right,
You
hey,
won't give me
saying like
5.
the motherfucker behind me got a full box though, didn't he? Nah, I'm not that dude. I promise you, I'm not that dude. But if you think about it, come on, man. First of all, the Roe versus Wade, right? It was changed for a few reasons, I think. They say, but I think, but they say is because they wanted to protect the
The
population.
clumps of cells, yes.
The population, right?
The clumps of cells.
But they don't want to protect the population that is of us. They want to protect their own population. I think I actually heard this idea from just different podcasts, other podcasts on our Black Out Media. Miss Natalie said she thinks it was to protect their own race because
It is.
Because they're the majority. That's who's having the abortions. For the most part, I mean, black women do have them, but they only have them in need.
Okay, here.
So you know what I'm saying? Like in a need. Like, okay, so rape in most cases, youth when they made a mistake when they were young, really young, and rape cases and stuff like that. Like, it has to be like trauma, a lot of trauma, right?
Here's the thing, I think, okay, so people have to keep in mind that very few women choose abortion to begin with. Very, very, very few.
But that's what I'm saying, right? I think it's very few black women, but go ahead.
Very few women in general, to be honest.
Okay.
But also, I think, because here's the thing, okay, so America is built upon a lot of racism, but America is also very classist. They don't give a damn what the poor white people do either.
That's true.
And somehow they've convinced these poor white people that they are equal to rich white people, and they're not. They still don't give a damn about them.
But they go with it because of that.
But because of the privilege, they think that, oh, well, this won't affect me, and which is why, 60% of white women went out and voted for Cheeto in charge, and now they're acting all surprised because he said he wouldn't try to get Roe versus Wade overturned. That's not what he said. He said that was the first thing he was going to do. That's literally what he said. But they somehow convinced themselves, like, oh, well, they're not going to, and if they do, it doesn't affect me, but it does affect you, because just like the poor black woman can't afford to travel to another state to get an abortion when whenever that, like, it doesn't have to be necessarily medically necessary, but if it is medically necessary, you still got to travel to another state. Just like they don't have the money, you don't have the money either.
Right. Exactly. So here's.
But these congressmen
that
enacted this
but that's
shit,
what's
trust
crazy
me,
about
they're
it, right?
gonna fly their mistress to wherever they need to fly her to, so she don't have that baby.
But that's what's crazy about it, right? So that's what's crazy about it.
Trust me.
That's what's crazy about it, right? So it's these people that make these laws or change these laws or amend these laws that we have going on, like the Roe versus Wade, Miranda rights, the restrictive videos of cops, and all these things that are not like us, right? So that's why I'm trying to figure out, like, do you think it's? I mean, I have my ideas.
Shut up, Kenzie. Just shut up.
Before they went out of town to get pregnant, yeah. But they better stay there to get their abortion too. But listen, that's the thing. So I believe, like, I think that's why I said it is America's boiling over, because like they starting to do stuff that caters to things that are not what's the word I'm looking for? Conducive for black people, right? So the video thing, right? If we didn't have some of this video camera footage, some of these people, a lot of these people, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these cops would walk free and easy.
They still do walk, even though
Free and
they have
easy.
but
Free and easy. They would walk, right?
Mhm.
So, with the Miranda rights,
Mhm.
that's not. We all know that's who that's catered to because most black people don't know their Miranda rights. They don't know the first. If you as soon as you say lawyer, you can go. You don't have to speak no more. They don't know that. They don't know that if you're a minor, you don't have to speak at all, unless it's a parent present. They don't know.
A parent is supposed to be present when
Yeah.
you're being interviewed or questioned by the
Right.
police.
A
As a
parent or
minor.
legal guardian.
Yes, parent or legal guardian.
They also don't know that you can ask, "Am I being arrested or can I go?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
Or am I free to go?" You don't know this stuff. So this is what the Miranda rights tell you. But now, if a cop forgets to tell you this stuff, which they probably will, because if they want to get you or something, they gonna be like, "Yeah, you coming in with us," and they ain't gonna say shit about their Miranda rights. And if you start spilling your guts, they're gonna use all that shit against you. Period. And we know who that's for. And so all this stuff that's going on, all these laws, all these amendments, all these changes that's going on, is for us. It's to try to control us. And I wholeheartedly believe that you have to come with.
It does.
You have to come with. Yeah, it does, Jared. It does. It comes down to education, but I think a lot of people skip that, and they don't think about that kind of education to their kids.
I think it's a lack. See, here's the thing. Like I said, America is very racist, but America is also very classist. So who gets pulled over and goes, "I'm gonna call my dad because he's a lawyer," not the motherfucker that don't know about their Miranda rights,
Right.
because their dad is a lawyer,
Right.
so they know. But when you get to living at home in a trailer and stuff like that, they don't know that.
They don't know that,
And it's no fault of their own, but it's not
it's
passed
just they
down.
don't know. Like it slips the mind of people too. It slips. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm glad I got to be able to talk to my sons before they started driving, or more so. But if I hadn't got to them and tell them some of their rights or whatever like that, then you know what I'm saying. I don't know what would have happened or what could have happened if they got into a situation where, you know what I'm saying, they got, like the what is it, the what's the show that came on Netflix that was big, what is it?
When You See Us.
When You See Us, right? And,
About the
yeah,
the
see,
five,
yeah,
the
but
Central
yeah,
Park Five.
Central Park 5, right? And them kids got in there and they basically ratted on each other like they didn't even know each other. Like
Hold on. They didn't rat on each other. They were manipulated.
Well, that's what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were manipulated.
But none of it, not one part of that whole thing should have been admissible because none of them niggas was adults. None of them.
But see, here's my whole thing, right?
No.
I feel like ethics should not go out of the window when it
Just
comes
because,
to
right?
when it comes to law enforcement investigations. Because if I'm your doctor, right, and say you have, I don't know, HIV, right?
That's just true, Kenzie.
And I come out and I say, well, I know that you have cancer, and cancer ain't got nothing to do with nothing because you have HIV. But I'm like, well, I know you have cancer. So what have you done to have cancer? Man, you know how much money you would win on that malpractice suit because I knowingly misled you to think you had something that you didn't have.
Uh-huh.
Because that's against medical ethics.
Right.
But
it's
why do
ethics.
ethics go out the window? Why are you allowed to lie to people when it comes to law enforcement? And this is what people go to jail for the rest of their life for shit they didn't do because a motherfucker done lied and said they had evidence they didn't have. Why should that be legal?
Why should it be legal?
And then when they're
why should I be able to say real quick? I'm sorry to cut you off, but why should I have you in the room when you and Wink done a crime or whatever, or just been in a place where a crime has happened, and why I gotta be in a room to tell you, oh yeah, Wink over there telling everything. He said you was dead, you was in the liquor store at this time, and blah blah blah, and he's over there, and I'm telling him, hey, listen, she over there spilling her guts, saying that you did this and you did that. Why is that okay?
Right, in any other profession,
It's all about numbers.
That's unethical. In any other profession,
right, exactly.
So why should when people's lives are literally on the line, like it's been people on death row that were exonerated because they literally didn't do it. DNA evidence have said they didn't do it, but because some officer was in the room, it's like, yeah, we got you down there, we saw you with her, we know you did it.
Well, the Central Black Five, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like they literally did not do what they were convicted of.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, why should it be ethical in that? But it's not ethical. Like I said, it would be if Providence.
Right, Kenzie. There's always two officers in the room.
If Providence Hospital did that shit to any of my relatives, it would be the hospital of Tamara and Tamara.
But that's what I'm saying. Like and that's it's like so. And then they
assault people. They be like, oh, you were away for 30 years of your life. You lost time with your kids. Your mother died. That's fine. We're gonna throw you $50,000 per year that you were incarcerated because that should be enough.
And then the thing is, it's funny because then let's get back to, because it comes all the way back to these restrictive laws. Though that you know what I'm saying. Like now, they protected it, so now they can really. This is the only place they can really just get into your shit, and they really like telling you.
Nope, I'm not sharing with you. Leave me alone.
He said Tara and Kenzie.
I'm keeping all the money to myself.
So it just that's but it's making it easier for that to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's making it easier because now they can be less ethical and less. It's just making them less and less ethical and true to the job.
There are two professions where ethics has no boundaries: police officers and lawyers. But notice where they all intertwine to though.
But see, here's the thing though. Lawyers actually are bound by ethics, but you just gotta.
That shit goes out the window, bro.
But the thing is, it doesn't. But you have to be able to make sure that nobody knows how unethical you were. Because they are bound by ethics. Lawyers are bound by ethics. And if you get caught being unethical as a lawyer, you can get disbarred. Period. But the thing is, it's words, it's how you say things, and it's whether or not anybody else can prove it. You understand what I'm saying? When cops can just straight out.
Education is a big part of
right.
it.
When cops can just come straight out and lie to you and not.
Don't have to suffer no type of consequences.
Not suffer the consequences of it. Because lawyers can't have to. They have an ethical board. You understand what I'm saying? Where they have to be ethical. Now, it's whether somebody else finds out about it or how well they do. You know what I'm saying? But if they get caught doing it, they are getting disbarred. They will get brung up on charges, and they will not be able to practice law anymore.
I understand that, but let's be real.
But listen,
how often does that happen?
Right.
But I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, the point is, they do have an ethical board. Police don't. They don't have an ethical board.
They just got internal affairs.
Yeah, and then right. But I said there's a completely outside of the the boys club ethical board and law that
But
says you
here's the
can't
thing.
be brought up on
Until they outlaw entrapment, I really don't want to hear anything about reforms and laws and shit.
That's true too.
So I
Yeah.
need for people to stop feeding me bullshit like, oh, well, you made them turn the body cameras on. Okay, that's fine, but is entrapment illegal? No. Okay, then stop talking to me.
Yeah, true.
And they continuously do it.
Mm-hmm. So
Even
now that
to
we
the
got all that out the way,
Yes.
and we gonna probably spend another 20 minutes on this. So let's just get through this quick. The biggest thing about this whole show is what I wanted to ask is, can black people be racist? That is what I really want to know. Because actually, I just looked it up. I've done this before, and I looked it up, and I've gotten two different definitions. Well, I got a definition that I just read earlier, and I had a definition from years ago where I think they changed it a little bit. Where
They change everything in this bitch. That's fine.
so where racism really is being able to oppress another whole race of people.
all right, so I got something for
Wait a
you,
minute.
right?
It's being able to oppress a whole another race of people with your values or whatever, how it goes. That's what the meaning word was a few years ago.
That was the original definition
That's the original
until they
definition.
whitewashed it to
Until
make
they
themselves
exactly.
feel less guilty like they always do.
So on the original meaning, originally, it is impossible for a black person to be racist because you can't oppress another set of people because we are the minority. You can't oppress white people by just their color, right?
Mhm.
Because they're the majority, but they did that.
I
to
mean, you
us.
can exclude them, but you can't really oppress
You can
them.
oppress them, right? Right. But that's what they did to us for years and years and years and years and years, right? That's where racism came from. Period. That's how racism started. They oppressed us because of our color.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? Now,
We were inferior.
right now they've changed it a little bit now to meet the standards of what they want it to be.
Political correctness.
Right. So
Mhm.
now it's excluding another member of another race or another whatever because of their physical
But
being.
have you noticed how it's like so subtle? Like they're like, oh, well, they went and got slaves from Africa. No, they didn't get slaves. They got doctors. They got lawyers. They got kings. They got queens.
Yeah.
And then they made them slaves. They weren't slaves when
I
they
really
fucking
like
went
how
and
you
got
said that
Correct.
word too.
So,
subtle.
yeah, the B is not in there.
Yes.
But all right, so
All right.
this is my notes, right? So when you gave me the topic, I was like, man, I gotta really be on my shit today. I don't want to just be blurting off stuff.
Yeah, because in this
You know,
type of
'cause I-
situation,
you
don't
know,
want to sound ignorant.
Yeah, I
get
definitely
that.
don't want to sound ignorant because I'm just a little bit, but not a whole lot.
We all are.
But,
We can do that. We can do that sometime.
But my ignorance is most definitely chosen ignorance. Far from ignorant though. Please believe that. So racist, right? Racist. A person who believes in racism, the doctrine that one's own racial group is superior or that a particular racial group is inferior
There
to
it is.
others.
Right.
Inferior. Lower in station, rank, degree, or grade. 2. Lower in place or position, closer to the bottom or base. 3. Comparatively low grade, poor in quality. 4. Less important, valuable, or worth. So I got those right.
Uh-huh.
So then I went and I looked up another word by the So I gotta go on my computer. Can y'all still see me if I click on this other screen?
I can still see.
Okay, it's cool. So it says prejudice, an unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand without knowledge.
Right.
Hold on. Without knowledge, thought, or reason. 2. Any preconceived opinion or feelings, either favorable or unfavorable. Unreasonable feelings, opinions, or attitudes, especially of a hostile nature regarding an ethnic, racial, social, or religious group.
Right. Hold on. Stop right there, real quick. Right. So, I think everybody gets confused and wants to throw everything in the same pot.
Yeah, racial and prejudice are two totally different things.
Exactly. So, racism, bigotry, prejudice, and that's...
Oh, I got another one for you, too.
It's not the same thing. I think everybody... Okay, I got you. Hold on. I think everybody gets that mixed up, right?
Yes.
So racism is something that black people are unable to do.
No,
I disagree.
That doesn't fade. It's still there.
I disagree.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, okay, I'm sorry.
It's not gonna fade. The problem is people think it'll fade, and then it doesn't ever fade.
What?
It's still there.
Racism? What happened?
Black people can be racist.
I think black people can be prejudiced. I think black people can be big. What is it?
Bigotry.
Bigots.
Bigots, yeah.
I don't think they can be racist.
Racism is taught. You are correct.
Definitely, Jay.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Oh God, yes. Oh my God.
It is a taught behavior.
Oh yeah, God, yes.
It is a taught behavior, right? But so stemming from the definition that I read of racist, right? It says superior or thought a particular racial group is inferior to others.
But that's
right?
why I think we can't be racist.
So you don't. So honestly, so you don't. So when it comes to, so I'll flat out say it. In my personal opinion, I think that the NBA is racist. Why is the NBA racist, right? Or why do people that want to go to the NBA, like the league is racist, right? Now look at the whole situation, right? What you got? 85% of the league is African American, probably about 15% of European descent or foreign European.
Mm-hmm.
How many Caucasians? Maybe 5%, if not lower, right?
Okay.
How many black owners do we have in the league?
None.
Majority owners.
Everyone?
Majority.
owners?
I'll say that. Majority.
Michael Jordan, a majority owner?
I don't know.
Jordan is a majority owner of the Charlotte
one.
Hornets.
So what?
And then I think you can throw in what's the name? I want to say Usher. I think Usher has.
I don't think he's a majority.
He's not majority. I don't know. I have to look it up. But and I'll come back with
I don't think
next.
that. I
next
don't think
with
he
that.
is. But here's the thing. Okay.
It's a racist league, right?
Right.
Because
But
at what point do you feel as an African American that you are more that a white person playing basketball? Because I'm racist when it came to that. Because I knew when I had a white boy, I knew he was inferior to
But
me.
let me ask you a question. Who's the ones being racist?
We are.
How? We're not the ones who put us on
If
the
you
team. We're not the ones that
listen.
wait a minute. We're not the ones that put us on the team.
That's
you
from
just said.
that's
you
from
just said the majority of the owners are white. So who picks the people to put on their team? It's the white people.
the white people, right?
Wait a
But
minute.
now listen,
So
listen,
who
listen,
thinks-
I get it.
Wait a minute. Who thinks that we're superior to the white people? The other white people, not us, because we're not the ones picking us.
I
You
see,
understand what I'm
I
saying?
see what you're saying, right?
Okay.
But then at the same time,
Okay.
when we was playing Hoop It Up, right, and you had one of them tall Caucasian white boys come step foot in front of your face, what was the first thing you thought about doing?
I got one.
I'ma burn his ass up.
But also,
But would that be more prejudice?
but is
or
that
is-
right? But hold on. Exactly.
No, because he
No.
was inferior to you.
No, stop. Because I'm gonna tell you this. What she said is it prejudice or racist? Because everybody that stepped in front of me and Hoop It Up, I thought, oh, I got one. I'm gonna burn his ass up.
But
You understand what I'm saying? Whether it was black,
your
white,
eyes-
green, or yellow.
But
You understand?
your eyes lit up when
My
you
eyes
seen.
always lit up.
Come on, Jay. Let's
So
get
okay,
real,
so I'm
Jay.
gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay.
We in South Carolina. We're in the Hoop It Up. We're in the championship game. We have gone through the undefeated bracket. The other team had one loss. They came up through the double elimination bracket, right? The other team came up. They had a dude that was 5'5", black dude. And the first thing I want to tell you, the first thing I said was, "I'm gonna kill this dude. I'm gonna kill this dude." You know why? Because he was 5'5". It didn't matter his color. I didn't give a fuck about his color. He was 5'5", and I knew he was pretty quick, but I knew I was taller than him. I knew I had better game than him because I seen him. But that first game, because I underestimated them a little bit, they beat us. But they only beat us because I figured out that if I got up on him, he was a little quicker than me, a little bit quicker than me, and he can get off his shot against taller people because what? He's 5'5", and he did this shit his whole life against taller people. So I said, hey, I adjusted my game. And I stepped back on him because he couldn't shoot. And he couldn't drive on me because I backed up on him. Correct. But that had nothing to do with his skin color. But I was prejudiced against his height. You understand what I'm saying? I was prejudiced against his height because I said, this little nigga ain't going to do nothing against me. Okay. By the way, if y'all looking, I'm about 5'8" inches. When I had the bunnies, you know what I'm saying? I could hop. But what I'm saying is, the race, regardless of what this person stepped in front of me it wasn't a race thing. It was a prejudice against something that they didn't have that I had. You understand what I'm saying? So it had nothing to do with race. It just had to do with I was a little bit prejudiced against his game against my game, or against his look against my look, or against his height to my height. His skin color to my skin color. It was a prejudice thing. I didn't think this dude was inferior just because he was white. I thought this dude was inferior because he was slow. And he was white. And he was tall. And he was white. And he couldn't get to where I could get to at the same time and at the same pace. Because he was white. But that was prejudice. That had nothing to do with racism. Just like the little dude. When I put him in the post, he couldn't do nothing because he was short. But he was black. You understand what I'm saying? So, I don't think a lot of times people get it misconstrued with racism and prejudice.
I agree.
Because I don't think black people can put an inferior thing on white people just because of the history of this country. That's like saying if I went to be a lawyer, how in the world could I be racist when they dominate that world? You know what I'm saying? Like, I could think they're inferior to me, but I could only think they're inferior to me because I know more. Not because they're white, but because I know more. Because I know I can outsmart this dude, period. And that's why I think the whole thing gets misconstrued. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yes, you can have a moment where you think you're being racist against another person, or racist against a person that's Caucasian or whatever. But in that moment, do you really think they're inferior to you because of they're white, or do you think they're inferior to you because of what the skills that you have that makes you better than them, or at that particular thing? You understand what I'm saying? So when we go to basketball, 9 times out of 10, he'd be way more athletic than this dude, and it has nothing to do with me being racist to this. There's me being prejudiced to this dude because I just seen him move, and he can't move like I move. These white people, these owners, see the same thing, and they say, well, hey, it's on film. This dude is just not as good, or as athletic, or as fast, or as nimble as this dude. Even you can even see it. You even see some of the shooters that are Caucasian. Most of the time, they shooters, and that's about it. They say it all the time. Well, he can't get off his own shot. He has to be a catch and shoot type of guy. But when they black, they like, oh, he can get shot, or he can create space for his own shot. He can create space for teammates or whatever the case may be. So I think that's where the racism and the prejudice gets mixed into this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay, I see. I can
you
see
understand what I'm saying?
that.
Right?
I see what you're saying.
Right.
I'm
I
not
have a
gonna.
follow-up question for that regarding
Okay.
athletics, but I'm not going to do that because that's going to be a whole other conversation. I'm just going to write it down.
All right, so
Go right down for the next time.
now the last word that I looked up was supremacist.
Oh yes,
A person who
Get into that.
believes a person who believes in or advocates the supremacy of a particular group, especially a racial group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly, and just me looking over these definitions, right? I believe that African Americans can be racist, right? If I feel as if we can be racist because it is an action that has been, I guess you could say, implemented upon us for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because put it this way, because we've been the victim of racism for so long, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been the victim of racism for so long. I feel in return we can be that too, right? So I look at the bigger picture. My man Jay Boogie said it earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was racist when I made my college decision. People was like, "How were you being racist?" I said, "My mom wanted me to go to, my mom wanted, one, she wanted me to stay local. Two, she wanted me to go to HBCU. Nah, out of the question. Nope, not doing it." She was like, "Why?" So I had to sit down at the dining room table and I was like, "Look, I'm not going to HBCU. These are the schools that I'm applying to." I applied to Towson, which is a PWI. I applied to St. Francis, which was a PWI. And then I applied to a small liberal arts college, Central Pennsylvania.
Now, real quick, explain to people, just in case we all don't know.
PWI, predominantly white institution.
Right. Okay. I just
Shout
wanted to
out
make
to the University of Maryland
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
And
and
because
Florida Tech.
and because of the racism that has been tossed upon our people, I looked into it as I can get into one of these schools because of affirmative action. So I use my race as you know what I'm saying, as a pedestal to get
That's a
me
whole
into
different
these
topic.
jumps. You know what I'm saying? So I thought I had a better shot at getting into these schools because I was going to be, you know what I'm saying, I was applying underneath the whole law of affirmative action. Cool. And then on top of it, that shit goes the other way as well.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you have brothers that are pledging in Greek fraternities that are white as, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
that are
bro.
white. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And not saying that they not cool human beings. They just of a different ethnic, you know what I'm saying, come from a different ethnic background. I gotta get my tooth fixed.
Don't worry about
You
it.
know what I'm saying? But that's what
But we had
happens.
one
You know
too.
what I'm saying?
We had one
And
too.
it's cool. I'm not saying it's nothing against it. I don't have anything
At
against it.
HBCU.
I just had, that was just my decision that I made because I went my elementary, middle school 100% black, high school 95% African American, what was it, like 4% Hispanic, 1% Caucasian. I looked at the bigger picture. I had to look and see what
But-
the world, as with us being the minority, soon to be the majority within the next 20 to 40 years or whatever. I still never had been around in a business setting with these people, so I had to learn how to adapt to, and I had, because
So let me ask you a
how
question
many
real
black
quick.
businesses or how many supervisors in corporate America are of the same ethnic background as you?
But let me ask you a question real quick.
I'm listening.
So where was your racism though? So
Because I said I'm not going to HBCU.
So you was racist against your own people?
Yes, I was racist against my own people.
Okay. So I
And,
think
and,
you was,
and I'm not the
again,
only one that do it. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Real quick, I
Go
understand. Hold on. Well, I'm sorry. But I understand what you're saying. But is that racism though? That's what I'm saying. Or is that a prejudice against
I don't.
The
But see, I don't.
wait a minute, hold on. Is it a prejudice against the idea of the norm?
I don't think. I don't.
You
Think,
see what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think.
I don't wanna go here
I don't
because-
think, I don't think it's either or because I don't think
okay,
because he didn't say he didn't want to go there specifically because they're black. He wanted to go there to be around other people because he always
Right.
been around.
right.
Like when you always fit in, like sometimes you want to see what it's like to
Right,
stand out.
but that's what I'm saying. So exactly. So he's saying, but the thing is,
So that's not a prejudice either, though.
but wait a minute. But he's saying he didn't say just that. He also said he didn't want to go to an HBCU because it was an HBCU.
Right, because he.
But that's
was,
but that's what I'm
but
saying.
that's not. But that's not prejudice.
You sure?
That's right. That's
Because
racist.
That's not
It's
racist.
not racist.
Either.
That is.
It's not either
It's
one.
not racist.
I knew. I felt that honestly. I felt that in this, my term. My
But that's
reason,
not racist though.
Now I'm gonna tell you why though. I'm gonna tell you why it's racist, right? I felt that I can get a better education at a PWI than I did at HBCU because I felt that HBCUs in this particular case were inferior to PWIs.
I still think that's just a prejudice though, because it's not true. Because a racist thing is major. It's like I don't say it's true, but like a prejudiced thought in your head is something that you think only, but it's not completely true. You know what I'm saying? So you thinking that is a prejudice against HBCUs because you didn't think that they had
Right,
as much. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I'm at, right? But when you think about it, I went to Morgan because they had one of the top engineering programs in America as far as HBCUs, and they can stand where PWIs stood too.
Mhm.
Florida A&M, same thing. That's why Stacy went to FAMU because they can stand where PWI stand as far as engineering. Howard has the best in HBCUs, has the best business school, best, but they can stand in the top 10
Shout
of
out to
PWIs.
the engineers from A&T. Hey y'all.
in PWIs as far as business. And that's what I'm saying. So because you didn't have the facts of everything, it was just a prejudice against these schools. It wasn't necessarily a racist thing. Because then you'd have been like, well, I'm better than these black people.
Well, see, but
And
see,
that-
that's why I think that. But see, that doesn't attest to him being racist. I think that attests more to the fact that America is still very much
Right.
heavy on racism,
Right,
and the notion that they try to indoctrinate into you that that a PWI can't give you the same or better education.
Correct. So I like you said, I originally wanted to go to Georgia Tech because for engineering, I wanted to go to Georgia Tech, and I went to a joint at Morgan. They said they gave me all the information I needed. I talked to Stacy. He went to FAMU. They gave me the information about it, and I immediately was like, well, especially Stacy. He got out. He came out of. At the time that he graduated, and I don't want to put his business out here, but at the time that he graduated from FAM as an engineering major, he was making some of the top money across the board for coming out of any engineering school. He got an offer. He started working at NASA. He got an offer at NASA or Lockheed, one of them. Can't remember which one, but he worked at both, and basically, that's where other top PWI engineers and stuff like that were at. You understand what I'm saying? So he wanted to go to FAM because it was his people. You know what I'm saying? And I just say he wanted, and that's just and that's cool. Like a lot of people, like you know what I'm saying, people, and actually, and to be all honestly. In all honesty, it might have been a good route for you because under that affirmative action, you would have got more money anyway. You understand what I'm saying? Like going to a regular HBCU, they gonna look at you as another HBCU kid. They might give you some money, but they ain't gonna give you as much money as that PWI because you fall into the affirmative action. So yes, if you think if you want to go to this PWI and think you can hang, you know what I'm saying, and do the thing, go under that affirmative action because they're gonna definitely give you more money. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna definitely give you more money because it's affirmative action, and they're gonna make sure that you get there, and you. But it's up to you to take advantage of that.
That's true,
that
but
education.
I would definitely like the affirmative action piece. But like I said, I think it's the racist foundations of America that would have you to believe that you can't get the same education
Exactly.
at HBCU.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, these are the same schools that didn't want us until we won the football games and basketball games and baseball games and soccer games.
Absolutely.
Until it was beneficial to them, we had to go to HBCUs.
We had to go to HBCUs
because nobody else would take us.
With HBCU, oh God, with HBCUs,
you need to go to sleep, bro.
You have to. When HBCUs were dominating sports in college, and that's how you churned out a lot of these people that did things. You know what I'm saying? Like it was some black people that bucked the system and went to some of the PWIs and got their degrees and did things through all the adversity. And I supremely appreciate them people. But there are a lot of people who graduated from HBCUs because that's where they could go. That's the only place they could go, and they got the same education they got. They got inventions. They did their thing, and we stand out in sports, and we did this and we did that, and now these PWIs say, hey, wait a minute, because a lot of these PWIs still predominantly on the sports teams are black. Because we bring and which brings me back to the NILs and shit like that, but we're not going to talk about that because that's where you get into the fact that we started even up the playing field.
That's going to have to be a whole nother
show.
Yeah.
So, in other words, so I just, and I promise you, I get what you're saying. And I think that's a valid point for most of it, but I think a lot of it comes from the racial proprieties that they put on the HBCUs more than you did. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I think you just got a prejudice against them instead of a racial thing against them because it was like this school, because it's predominantly black, may not look up to this school because it's predominantly white. So I think that's the prejudice you put on them more so than a racial thing that you put on them. And I think that, but see, again, like I said, I think a lot of people in America in a minority think because I'm saying something against a person of another color, it is a racist thing when it could just be a prejudice thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of times there are people that be like, I don't like this person because they white. That's crazy. But for the most part, when you don't like somebody, you don't like them because of the characteristics of the person. You understand what I'm saying? Like, well us. Well, us. Let me say us. We don't like them because of characteristics of that person. I don't like this motherfucker because he talks too goddamn much, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you get into racism, it's like I don't like this nigga because he smell like wet dog, and all white people smell like wet dog, or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like that might be a little racial, or like I said, if a person at the drive-thru give me half a box of fries, even though that's the policy at McDonald's. At that McDonald's, I'll be like, "Oh, you didn't give me a whole box of fries because you racist." Like that shit is crazy. Like he said, he thought who said it? Is it Kenzie that said we throw that joint around too much? Yeah, I think like a lot of people throw that around a lot, too much, way too much.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think a lot of black people throw that race thing around too much. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of racial issues in a lot of things, but I think when it's something as simple as that, it's dog. Calm down. It's not racist. It's just that they don't like to give nobody a whole bag of fries. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just it. But anyway,
Don't you got a black fact?
I do. So we already end the show on a black. Did you have one too? Yeah, we gonna do both. We gonna do two black facts.
I had one next show, y'all.
You gonna have one next show?
I
Okay.
had one next show.
So we try to end the show on a black fact.
It's jazz time. Man.
So we try to end the show on something positive, a black fact that maybe nobody know about. So, you ready, Bob? You
You can go first.
I can go first. Okay. So, I was reading this show a while ago, and I'm gonna say this as I'm reading it. Okay, I'm reading this. So, Lucia Harris was the first and only woman drafted by the NBA. She was drafted in 1977 by the New Orleans Jazz at 6'3" center out of Delta State University with the 137th overall pick. She was black. I don't know much more about it, but she got drafted by the New Orleans Jazz. And I thought that was crazy because no other woman has been drafted by the NBA. And
That's
I don't know if
bullshit.
Huh?
That is bullshit.
And I don't know if it's because they got her name mixed up or what. But they drafted her. And I'm going to have to cut back with you to see if she actually played at all or whatever, or what there was a mistake. But she got drafted by the New Orleans Jazz in 1977 in the NBA draft. So, Lucia Harris was the first and only woman to be drafted in the NBA as a black woman. I thought that shit was crazy.
Yeah, that's a little far-fetched.
It's crazy. Okay, and go.
All right. So on this day in Black History is every day. Shirley Chisholm became the first African American presidential nominee and the first female presidential nominee at the Democratic National Convention.
Wow.
That's dope.
That's big. We're not here just to talk about
Yeah, Miss
crazy
Chisholm.
topics and serious topics and
Shout
to
out
be
to
funny.
Shirley Chisholm.
We give you a black
I
fact
see you, CC.
and we let y'all know we are doing our homework. CC?
CC.
Wow. CC. Not the music factory. Huh?
Nah.
Nope. Okay. So, thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back in another couple weeks or so. Make sure y'all subscribe, follow, share, do all that good stuff, man. Tell your friends about us, man. We are growing. We trying to get this thing big. Kenzie, every week, come on back. Jared, come on back. We had our girl Jennifer in the building. My man B.
KJ, come on back, bro.
Always rocking with us, man. I appreciate you, BZL. Listen, tune in to Saturday Live. I got to shout them out. Saturday Live, we having a big show Saturday. Just Different podcast, JUSS Different. They doing a big thing, you know what I'm saying? You can find them just like that on Instagram, JUSS Different podcast on IG. They doing a big show on Saturday Live. Make sure y'all tune in. We're gonna be in this joint turned up. You know what I'm saying? My man Jay Beezy's in the building. Jay Jenkins, Natalie, they doing it big, you know what I'm saying? Kenzie, always love, man. We appreciate you. Yeah, so tune in Saturday. Like I said, tune in Saturday. You got some time or whatever. Make sure you when you tell the people, man, we are on YouTube, Talk Your Shit podcast. Facebook. We gonna start some other outlets. We gonna try to get on that Apple. You know what I'm saying? We gonna try and get that job. But it's up to y'all to help us, man. Get through that. Get to that main stage. You know what I'm saying? Let the people. We want to talk. We want to talk to the people. You know what I'm saying? So let the people know we want to talk to them. You know what I mean?
I got my business suit ready, so I'm ready for all meetings.
Yeah. He ready. That's the business dude, because I'm not wearing no suit. Yes,
we
sir.
know.
We ain't wearing no suit.
We know.
We are not conforming to the. Nah, go ahead. I'm not gonna do that, but we not conforming to the man and what he say we gotta do. You know what I mean? We got 2022. Listen, thank y'all for
dressing up.
He dressing up. He like to dress up.
I just like dressing up.
Yeah, he do. I don't like no tie, but I dress up a little something. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all, man. Kenzie, really dope, dog. Jared, JB, J Boogie, you know what I'm saying? Jennifer, she always at least come stop by and tell us she in the building. So again, this Saturday coming up, Just Different Podcast, man. We celebrating Miss Therese, her birthday. She used to be a sponsor for
Happy
the station.
birthday.
TNT Logistics is on IG. She looking for drivers. If you need a job, you got a CDL. She looking for drivers. She doing some big things. You know what I'm saying? So holler at us, man. Look for us, man. We're gonna put it out for the next live show, man. We appreciate y'all listening.
You are now tuned in to the Talk Your Shit podcast.